Let's take a second right now to have a moment of silence for Washington Mystics owner Shelly Johnson, who suggested that the WNBA as a whole should have been on the cover of Time magazine instead of just Caitlin Clark.
Over 2 months, Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson has issued 2 separate statements that expose a striking double standard. She downplayed Caitlin Clark's Athlete of the Year recognition, arguing that the honor should go to the entire WNBA rather than highlighting a single player. This surprising stance has ignited discussions about consistency and fairness and celebrating individual excellence within the league.
However, a lot of people are noticing the fact that we all remember Sheila Johnson, right? The Mystics owner that went on CNN that was none too pleased about Caitlin Clark having received the Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. She made absurd comments.
Actions speak louder than words, and Sheila Johnson's latest move regarding fever games has ignited a heated debate in the basketball world. The same owner who downplayed Caitlin Clark's impact on the league's rising popularity is now making strategic business decisions that contradict her own narrative. The numbers behind her choice paint a starkly different picture, one Johnson might hope fans don't notice. We've gathered all the evidence, including a telling award where her silence spoke volumes. Ready to dive in? Let's break it down.
Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said, the WNBA is the League of the Year because of all the talent that we have?
Do you remember when a WNBA owner openly took aim at the league's brightest rising star? That's exactly what happened when Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson dismissed Caitlin Clark's selection as *Time*'s Athlete of the Year during a CNN interview.
It has taken the WNBA almost 28 years to get to the point where we are now. And this year, something clicked with the WNBA, and it's because of the draft of the players that came in. It's just not Caitlin Clark. It's Reese. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized, and I don't think we can just pin it on one player.
Let's take a closer look at Sheila Johnson's remarks, because they reveal something surprising. Johnson suggested that instead of celebrating Caitlin Clark as an individual, *Time* should have honored the entire WNBA. Think about that for a moment. An award designed to spotlight the singular, exceptional athlete, yet Johnson believed it should be distributed among more than 100 players.
Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings.
This statement raises an important question. Was Johnson truly concerned about team morale, or was there a deeper motive behind her words? But she didn't stop there. She went even further, suggesting that race played a role in Clark's recognition. You feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color who are just as talented, yet they never received the recognition they deserved, she said. With that remark, Johnson steered the conversation away from a debate over individual versus team accolades and into a far more complex and polarizing discussion.
This phrase has been couched, hasn't it? The Caitlin Clark effect. Why do you think that has been the case?
Well, I want to be very diplomatic about this. It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now, it is time for that to happen.
What makes Johnson's criticism especially puzzling is how it overlooks Caitlin Clark's undeniable impact on the league. The numbers speak for themselves. When the Fever faced the Mystics last season, Johnson's own team drew an average of 20,000 fans. Yet, when other teams came to town, attendance barely reached 5,000. That's not just a slight boost. It's a staggering shift in fan interest and engagement.
And has brought a ton of new opportunity, a ton of new eyeballs, and more money to the sport. So instead of downplaying the magnitude of who she is and what she's brought, enjoy the ride and take advantage of the ride.
Clark's influence went well beyond boosting attendance. Her presence drove a threefold increase in crowd numbers for Fever games overall, while jersey sales skyrocketed by an astonishing 1,000%. These aren't just impressive statistics. They're game-changing figures that showcase how a single player can amplify the league's visibility, excitement, and financial potential.
The NBA's ratings continue to drop over 30% as they try to figure out who is going to fill the shoes of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry. The WNBA has a golden goose sitting in their league and has done, it's gotten better, but has done everything to kind of discredit the momentum and eyeballs she's brought to this game.
What's most revealing in all of this is how Clark responded to the criticism. Rather than retaliate or get drawn into unnecessary drama, she chose the high road. In her *Time* magazine interview, Clark stressed the importance of mutual respect among players and brushed aside any notion of jealousy within the league. No defensiveness, no heated remarks, just quiet confidence in her own path.
Caitlin is someone who has, if you look at it, done everything you're supposed to do and has been criticized along every step of the way. Again, she's damned if she does, and she's damned if she doesn't.
The contrast between Johnson's remarks and Clark's response is striking. One sought to diminish an individual accomplishment, framing it as a challenge to team unity, while the other responded with grace, choosing respect over controversy. So, was Johnson's criticism truly about preserving team spirit and fairness? Or was it an early sign of a deeper pattern, one that would only become harder to overlook as time went on?
I mean, honestly, we know how this owner feels about Caitlin Clark. Let us not forget.
That pattern became impossible to ignore when A'ja Wilson was named one of *Time's Women of the Year, and suddenly, Johnson's firm stance on honoring the entire league vanished faster than playoff tickets at Capital One Arena. Where was all the talk about fairness and team-wide recognition when the spotlight wasn't on Caitlin Clark? *Time's tribute to Wilson highlighted her extraordinary impact on women's basketball, awarding her the very kind of individual recognition Johnson had criticized just months earlier. It was the perfect moment for Johnson to stand by her supposed principles, but this time, there was only silence.
Magazine backed themselves into a confusing corner with their latest blunder. This is a Whiskey Riff right here. When they crowned their Athlete of the Year last year, they did the right thing by giving the title to Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. Surprisingly, there was some backlash to the decision, which is absurd, with many in the WNBA saying the award should have been given to the entire league instead.
But this time, she didn't say a word. No CNN interview, no passionate argument about how *Time* should have honored all WNBA players instead of just Wilson. The silence from the Mystics owner was deafening, and it spoke volumes about the true motive behind her earlier criticism. Remember all that talk about protecting team unity and preventing hard feelings when one player was singled out? Turns out, those concerns had an expiration date, or maybe they were never sincere to begin with. Wilson's recognition was exactly the kind of individual honor Johnson had supposedly opposed, yet somehow, her so-called principles disappeared overnight.
Owner went on CNN and was like, I think it would have been nice if they'd have put the entire league on the front cover of Time magazine as Athlete of the Year. Well, there wasn't but one athlete that was moving all the numbers. All right, that was influencing all the money. Gate revenue, attendance, ratings, all the stuff we've talked about. Right? There's only one. Right, wrong, or indifferent, just one. Plays in Indiana, wears 22. Right?
This glaring inconsistency didn't go unnoticed within the league. WNBA player Lexa Brown called out the double standard, posting, "Can we please stop taking steps backward?" Her frustration echoed the sentiments of many players who saw right through the contradiction. If Johnson's concern was truly about fairness and team unity, why did it only surface when Caitlin Clark was the one being honored? Johnson's earlier warnings about players developing resentment were nowhere to be found when Wilson received recognition. Instead, Wilson's achievement was widely embraced, with players relying around her success rather than resenting it. This stark contrast exposed something troubling about Johnson's original stance. This was the perfect opportunity to show consistency, to reaffirm that individual awards supposedly undermine team accomplishments. Yet, her silence spoke louder than any statement. The message became abundantly clear. The outrage was never about protecting team unity. It was about who was in the spotlight.
Well, keep in mind, this is a business. When Nike signs an athlete, okay, they want to get an ROI, return on their investment. How do they do that? Because that athlete resonates. You understand that Caitlin Clark, her jerseys, her apparel, if she has an apparel deal, her shoes